What's up? It's your boy Kirk St. here. Gonna hit you with the realest thing ever put on YouTube concerning the hip hop world. Now, when hip hop first formed, like I said, it was never supposed to surpass any records or become a major business. It was overlooked by those who were in power in the record business. They saw it as a fad, like disco, and they can make a lot of money off of it before it burns out. But it's nothing that's going to stand the test of time like classic rock or rock and roll or Elvis. People won't even remember these guys. These are a bunch of hood guys making a lot of noise, tearing up their mother's equipment and turntable sets. So hip hop was not viewed as a threat, but it was a John Doe business that its history started straight from the core of the streets. So they didn't control it. They had no hold of it. And what happened is they got so greedy trying to make money off of it, it took a life of its own. It started to transcend into rock, and once it started doing that, their children are growing up loving this music of all races, all nationalities. Now, if hip-hop got the mind of the children, what are your kids going to do? They're going to get older, they're going to have kids, and their kids going to be listening to this music. And that's when they's like, wait a minute, we got to get the reins around this thing. We have nothing here to govern this type of music. They're using the Freedom of Speech Act to just run amok. And the biggest scare in their life was when Public Enemy was making their music and they run, and blacks were all unified and walking in the streets. It was red, black, and green everywhere, the security of the first world. And, it caused some waves, but it was done professionally to where they could tolerate it as much as it could be. They didn't like it. But once you have groups like NWA come out with Eazy-E and the gangster rap era started to come around, then you had the song Cop Killer come out. It was leading to a new style of hip hop that made white America worried about hip hop, which was music that was just for fun. But when they hear songs like Fight the Power and all of these other different message songs telling people to stop the violence and, human education against lies, the HEAL Foundation, self-destruction, the message raps were becoming a problem because the people were listening in the streets. In 1990, the crime had dropped. The prison rate had slowed down from its usual income of inmates. Now, during this time, there's other promotions coming out, like they had MC Hammer, and the sponsors found a way to go through MC Hammer to try to get into hip hop, to make some demands by using sponsorship and using big money. But everyone, and they alienated Hammer and everybody else who was associated with taking big corporate dollars at the time. If you took the big corporate money, you were pretty much shunned by the hip hop world. But Run DMC took the money, and they said, well, that's Run DMC. That's okay. But like Budweiser and all these people, they've been wanting to do this stuff with hip hop. But the artists were aware that we can't let corporates come in here and take over this music the same way they did jazz and blues. So the CIA got involved and decided that they need to come up with a system once the jail population started to slowly decrease. See, if the inmates that come into prisons, certain prisons, they average at least 110 inmates coming in. And once you have a slow number, you're not going to get the same amount of money from the state for your prison based on your inmates. And even one of the people on the staff said, this system now that we have today is not designed, and this is in 1990, is not designed to rehabilitate. They have asked to incarcerate, not to rehabilitate, but to just have them off the streets. They don't want them back on the streets. People just want them arrested and in prison. People voted and said they felt comfortable with not the rehabilitation that's going on in the program, so they cut back on that to build more prisons. Because they said, well, why are we doing all these rehabilitation programs to put them back on the streets? We're running out of spaces for them in here. And Ice-T said it on the song Attack from the Killing Fields. He was trying to warn you that this was coming when he made the song Cop Killer. Like, before he made Cop Killer came like after the fact. But it was the icing on the cake. It was what they needed. But the plan was already put in place in 1991. But like he said, the man has a surefire system. An economic prison. People in prison are doing labor and work in the prisons, and they get none of the benefits. They can pay them slave wages well under minimum wage, and they're getting free service and work out of them. It's a payola system. The people that bring, the company that bring in the snacks are related to the people like the warden. So his daughter's company comes in, she's in charge of the snack company. That's why these big prisons are in these small little towns. Because the towns profit off the prison. And the money is kicked around. They don't care about your well-being. So while people were saying fight the power in the government and partying the songs, the government had went and took a vote and decided that they were going to put up $500 million. The federal government, the CIA, everybody put up $500 million to launch the new prison programs. When the first one was built in Somerset, and to be opened in 1992. That one took about $2 million out the budget. So across the United States of America, $500 million was supposed to go into new prisons in a 10-year project to build new prisons. And record executives from major label companies like Universal told them, listen, they had to sit down and come up with a plan for the future of what they were going to do about music. They wanted Time Warner, who was a major company, a major title holder in all of these different like imprints and other labels. They said, look, let one of your imprints, but we don't want to see Time Warner on it. because Time Warner is Viacom. Viacom is involved in a lot of different other businesses. So we can't have Time Warner distributing this music. But now it's disturbing. Now they got the people saying, yeah, this music is getting a little bit out of control. It needs to be governed. We need to get rid of these imprints. And what they mean was, by blacks running the show, we, the streets, we dictated what was good, what wasn't good. We didn't need the radio, so we cut out the Jewish man. We didn't need promotion or record sales. The streets was the promotion. You could sell 500,000 records off your neighborhood doing local shows, mom and pops. So they had to cut down our infrastructure of hip hop in order for this to happen. The prisons wasn't enough. Now you have to find the people to go to prison. So what they did was sit down with the record label heads and said, this is what we're going to do. We got to get in the door. We need something to work. Vanilla Ice didn't work. They needed something to kick so they could get involved and start making changes. And what they did was start offering money. Big companies started coming around. They started using their sister company like Polygram and all these other different companies that come around from Germany with big dollars saying, your company's making this much money, you should be making this much. We're going to come in for a quarter or a percentage of your company. We're going to help your record sales. They were tanking certain records. And the greed of the promoters and the A&Rs that they were hiring, these guys worked with other people in the industry. They were robbing their own company to try to make it go defunct so that they can have their other parent company come in and buy it out. And you start seeing all these record labels fade. But that wasn't enough. They had to use corporate market to attack black businesses. Those imprints the rappers were using, rappers was getting too smart. They were opening up their own businesses with their record imprints. So they were legally hiring people from prison. They were employing them legally to be security guards. So if you came out of prison, you had a decent job ahead of you. If you went to school and got a degree, you can be the assistant manager of the record company, of the imprint. You had a job. Each imprint had about at least 30 to 40 jobs. Every rapper had basically their own imprint or a label that they were running. And they had offices with great salaries. You're starting off $50,000 a year, $34,000 a year. The securities are getting paid $1,000 an outing. That's economic. That's change. That's stopping people from going to jail. But instead of saying, I'm going to do another crime and go back in, you're doing security work. And it's legit. And you're getting paid for it. You're putting food on the table. So you don't have to go out and rob and steal. That's not what the government wants. They say they want that, but not from us. That message wasn't for us. So the government let brand marketing companies such as Target, Walmart, Sam's Club, gave them permission to go into the poor economic markets and build their superstores. Because once they did that, in the 2000 era, once their prisons were built, it started killing the businesses. All the black-owned mom-and-pop stores, not just hip-hop stores, just stores in general. It sucked the dollars in. and away from these small businesses. And then in your hood, you used to have all these shops that were like black owned, but they kept the neighborhood alive. Here comes corporate dollars. They can't compete. The mom and pop store, they got to sell their CD at $16.99, $20 a pop. That's how they got to stay open. They got to stay alive. And Target across the street, they're selling it for $9.99 on sale when it's released, because they could afford to keep it that low. To have you go there and spend your money there. Next thing you know, all the black businesses are gone. And everyone in the neighborhood are going there. Another form of gentrification. So now you have no more mom and pop stores. Mom and pop stores used to have a rap artists come to the stores, sign autographs for the people, to promote their records when they came in town. Now they all gone. Neighborhood, no matter what city and state you is, one thing it's hard for you to find now is a record store. Unless it's a corporate like Sam Goody. So now you got that to happen for the rest of this takeover to happen. You have your prisons built. Now you shut down the infrastructure of the mom and pop shops. How are you going to get the people to go to prison? Oh, promote the rap that's mostly into criminal behavior. That's what we need. Because statistics show that when rap was doing this gangster time and doing its criminal behavior gangster rap, we had more people going to jail back then. We gotta kill the message rapper. All of that has to go. We have to put the money behind the rappers who are promoting criminal behavior. That's what we need. And the effects will work. Because people are going to relate to them. We just got to promote them and put the money behind them. That's where we at right now, eh? Ain't that where we at right now? Isn't that what they did? Universal bought out everybody. Bought out Def Jam, bought out Polygram, bought out every record company there is. Interscope's in the fold. They bought them all out. And now, all those small companies are being bought out by giants. Now the giants choose when, where, and how to distribute the money, who they're going to promote, who they're not going to promote. Now you can't go in your neighborhood and sell 500,000 copies. And if the label want to get rid of you, they could just get rid of you. They'll bootleg your album as they done in the past. If they want you to go, they'll leak your album so that you won't sell anything. So when Nas said hip hop is dead, I know what he meant. It's gone. So you got to get your money out of it now, because that's it. There ain't nothing left for it. It's just get your money. And it's not going to get right until it all burns down and start back up from the ashes again. And that's the truth. Because if we continue on the pace we're on now, it's not going to get any better. And that's why these artists are so confused. Because it's like, I can't make the artsy song because it won't be accepted. And if I do make the artsy song, I better have a mega power backing me up. because there's only 3 people they got in music that they let do anything, and that's Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine, and Eminem. They dictate everything in hip hop. They're getting paid on stuff they're not even touching. It has nothing to do with them whatsoever. They're getting a check. So, now that I brought you guys up to speed, y'all tell me, am I wrong? Remember, I'm at Carcino on Twitter. If you want to talk, I'm out.